What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I got red on today. This is a supplemental. Start date 2069. Anyway, the fallout from the Nintendo Switch prices. I'm just gonna say it that way because the actual presentation wasn't that bad. It was whatever, it was Nintendo. But the prices is what's crazy. So I watched a bunch of different YouTubers, content creators, whatever. I watched Angry Joe scream and yell because that's what he do. He angry. Angry G.I. Joe. Angry Joe, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. He's pretty much what everybody's feeling inside, but some are afraid to say it because they're scared of losing money from their Nintendo fan. I don't know. I watched Mr. Maddie Plays, and did he mention the price? I think he did, but he didn't make a big deal out of it. So I think he's being more politically correct, if that's not really the right term to use, but that's what I'm gonna use right now. He's just trying to be not stepping on any toesies. Maybe he has some inroads with Nintendo. Once again, he's part of a larger machine, which is Last Stand Media, so he can't really do whatever he wants. He does have a leash, if you will, on him. I mean, figuratively, of course. He doesn't literally have, or figurative. You know what? Anyway, whatever. Do with that statement as you will. Refudge Gaming. Flounder game. Anyway, him, right? Jimmy Neutron, that guy. I don't know if he's losing brain cells or he's, once again, they need to placate their audience. So I think what he's doing is either he's really not that intelligent, he's losing brain cells, or he's just playing the role of, we have to attack Xbox on every front. Let's do that. Now, I don't know if he said it. I know Nib said it because Retanga had a video. I think, Alex had a video. Everybody had videos. And I think Nib said, no, it wasn't Nib. It was Noir. I don't know who it was because I know Dirt did a video as well. What's up, Dirt? Sean, WBG. They're blaming Xbox for Nintendo's pricing structure business model thing. That's what they're doing. And the narrative is, this is what happens when Microsoft doesn't provide competition to Nintendo or Sony. They give you $700 consoles and $500 consoles, and the games are now $80 and $90. I'm like, y'all are so dumb. I was going to use the R word, but I'm trying my best not to be that guy. But the older you get, silver beard and all that, the more things you go through, you say F it. And maybe one day I'll go in deep. I mean, I go in deep usually, but I'm just saying, maybe I'll let the language more loose. I mean, if I, like right now, I could be on Boom Show because I don't really curse that much. I'll say shite or something like that, or funguli or whatever. Of course, those are other languages. There are curses in other languages, but it's more palatable for the English-speaking robots, I guess. I don't know. The AI that monitors all this stuff. But anyway, forget all. So, Refudge, the knucklehead, and Nibs. I think Refudge did it too, but I mean, Nibs said, it's Xbox's fault. I'm like, okay, so I understand what they're doing because they're donkey unicorns and ponies, more so donkey unicorns, and they're trying to throw Microsoft under the bus. Any chance they get is Microsoft's fault, blah, 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 right? I'm looking at Nintendo, and I'm like, okay, you know whose fault it is directly? Sony's fault, because they released a inadequate Pistol 5 Potato for $700 plus. I say $850 at least. And so I'm like, look, I mean, it's $830 without tax, but I'm like, the direct blame, the direct correlation with price increases and products is Sony, it's PlayStation. Microsoft, I think they raised Game Pass. And they did raise some of their prices based on the market as a whole, but they didn't release a new piece of hardware and raise the price in that respect, because they did bring out the Xbox 2 terabyte, but the only reason why it's more $599 is because it's more storage, because the correlation is there. You put more stuff in it, more storage, the price goes up, right? It wasn't I guess it was a 4 whatever, a shrunken nanometer, but they didn't really count that as a new console. It's still the same generation. So the price increase is indicative of the storage increase. You know, you get more storage, it's just like any other consumer electronic. You get a laptop, you say, oh, 64 gigs or 512. Well, guess what? 512 is going to cost more. That's just electronics, right? So that makes sense. But PlayStation, the Pistol 5 Potato, piece of hot trash, doesn't cost $699. Doesn't cost $700 for them to make, okay? So they're just trying to, milk y'all for all of that. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Nintendo. We're talking about Nintendo. Well, we are talking about the Pistol 5 in that respect. How they gouge priced. They up the price for their consumers, and Nintendo saw they don't. The funny thing about that is Nintendo doesn't know how much it's been sold or how much it's been kind of adopted by the public, by the fans of PlayStation, because no regular person, no casual is going to go out and spend $700 on a console, especially a Pistol 5 Potato. So Nintendo, who is almost primarily, no, that's a lie, they are part of their contingent audience is casuals, i.e. kids who actually can't buy consoles for themselves. So their parents, who are usually hardcore to casual, or gramps, that don't even play games, but they know the Switch is a game for the kids. I would say that's casual, right? Put that in the casual category. So, when you bump up all these prices, Gramps and Grams and Anna, they'll pay for it, I guess. But it's not even, like, the problem wasn't even the console being $450 or $500 with the game. The problem was the game prices. That's what, and I'm like, and so Refudge is on his show, I guess his stream, whatever, and he's saying, cry about it, cry more, something like that, cry more, something like that. And I'm like, and he's referring to everybody's being upset about the prices, right? And I'm like, dude, that's where I'm like, he can't be this stupid. He cannot be this stupid. And I'm calling him stupid, but I'm saying he can't be this stupid. So he has to be playing the role. He has to be trolling. He has to be playing that donkey unicorn role to placate his audience, because the way capitalism, he understands how capitalism works. Most people understand how capitalism works. The power is in the consumer, the buying power. If we don't buy said product fails, companies ask out of money. Okay? Look, some people are like, oh, it's worth it. I'll just get the $4.99 one. And like some people are like, okay, well, yeah. If you look at it that way, if the game is still $80, then the console itself is only $429, $419, $419, whatever. So it's not that much more than $399. I think as far as optics go, I don't know what the cost it is to make the Switch 2, but if it was less than $399 and they could have had that price point at $399 to still cover the cost of the actual console, they should have done that. But it's all of this little nickel and dime Tendo, that's their name now. Nickel and dime Tendo, all this nickel and diamond is making people, because like throughout the presentation, oh, there's this game where you're a little guy on, and it describes all the things that your Switch 2 can do, and it's like you're running around on top of the surface of the Switch 2, and you got to buy it. I'm like, huh? I'm like, so it's literally, it made Sony, somebody said this, I forget, I think it was not Jeff, it was Inside Gaming or something. They were like, it made PlayStation look like just good guys. I'm like I said last video, Nintendo has been evil forever. Y'all just don't know, or you're just ignoring it. You're just looking out of the way. But Refudge saying, cry about it or whatever, is a bad message, because it is, going back to how Jeff Grubb had this whole thing about capitalism, and the only way to fight capitalism, I think there may be more ways to fight it, but he said to tax the rich and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's all getting too political. I mean, he may be right in a sense, but the real way to stave or fight certain aspects of capitalism is to use your consumer power, which is buying power. You have the power to not buy a piece of hardware that is bullshit, basically. And so if you look at the Switch and like, I mean, it's a cool system, but $80 not be, I mean, Angry Joe said it, Mike Ibarra said it, well, a whole bunch of people, WBG, they all said it. Maybe Joey's gonna buy it because he's a Nintendo boy, man, whatever I don't know what he is. He's part of the Nintendo 7, the Panama 7. They should switch it to the Nintendo 7 because I just playing. But yeah, it's like, one of my main things that, I always say it, I'm about the health of the industry, and this is the responsibility of the health of the industry is mainly on the companies that are participating: Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, right? And then the tertiary third party players who make the games and stuff, Epic, EA, Activision, below. That's Xbox, Microsoft now, but also the content creators who have a lot of followers and maybe casuals who don't know any better, and they think they're speaking the truth, or they're new to video games, and their influence does affect buying decisions, all these things. And so when you're spouting nonsense and you're spouting things that are biased in a way that it is destructive and untrue, he speaks about, oh, I'm just spitting facts. I'm just spitting the truth. I'm like, listen, you can believe anything to be true. So when he says that, it may be true to his mind. I mean, he's got a big mind, right? But it may not be objectively true. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. We all have to have our own brain cells to rub together. A little spark, the synapses need to go bzz, 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 bounce back and forth, so we can make up our own decisions, make up our own minds about buying things, about fairness, about these companies and corporations. Is that fair? Is that cool? Is that a good product? Is it worth the hype? Are they doing good things? Are they doing bad things, for the industry, let's just say? Now, shareholders would be like, yes, prices are going up. We're going to get paid, son. I'm not a shareholder of any video game companies. Zero. Okay? So that doesn't affect me directly. At the same time, even if I were a shareholder, the health of the industry is still more important than me making a little bit extra money because Nintendo decided to jack up their prices, because, well, A, I'm invested in it other than just a financial gain. It's about having the industry, having a healthy industry, so I can make money. If I were to be in the making money business of the industry, the stocks side, right, I can continue to make money. And like I said before, when Jeff Grubb was talking about greed, I was like, I didn't quite understand what he was doing and saying it. And when the Nintendo Direct, I said this yesterday, when this Direct came out, and and I was like, oh, it's like, wow. And he didn't correlate it directly to the Nintendo Direct, but like I said, he's a Nintendo hardcore dude, and he seemed upset. And I'm like, why is he upset? Why is he upset about this? I mean, I understand. I mean, if you're, stuff is happening, you're politically, kind of active or whatever. Yeah, sure. But I mean, is that, you're a video game dude. Why are you talking about this? And then I see, and I'm like, oh, Nintendo done lost their mind. Last video. And so you see the trend happening, right? Sony started it, I mean, when they raised the games to $70, sure, right? But I think it was Activision or was it Rockstar? I forgot who. Take-Two, right? It was Take-Two. I think it was Take-Two first. But Sony, they went on that real quick. They was like, yes, let's do it. Boom. They were the second one, third one in line, whatever. So Sony started it, big company started it, and now they did the Pixeltech 5 Pro Tato, $700. And the thing is, it's like people were like, yeah, that's crazy, whatever. And then it flew away. Nobody's talking about it anymore, right? But we still don't have numbers of how it's selling. But Nintendo is like, it doesn't matter the fact that if it's selling or not. What matters is that people aren't talking about it anymore. It's not in the zeitgeist. People aren't upset about the price of the Pixeltech 5 Potato anymore, really, right? It's not a bad thing happening. It's not a bad notion. It's just, it is what it is. That's what people say, right? So Nintendo's like, well, if that happens with us, and there isn't a real big backlash, it's just a bunch of people saying, wah, wah, wah. That's what Refudge is talking about, right? And then it blows over, and then other stuff happens, and then people forget. That's cool. People buy it, people won't. If they're not buying enough, we can have a sale here or there. Black Friday is coming up, let's go. So they put the highest price possible that they can on these products, Nintendo Switch 2. That way, when they do $50 off, only $3.99, it seems like a deal. Then everybody goes and buys it, which $3.99 should have been the original price. But at $3.99, $3.99, people would have bought it. I was thinking about buying one, right? But like I said that before, the prices of the games is like, nah. If I were to buy one, I would buy the Mario Kart bundle thing, and then that'll be it. But honestly, I'm gonna just watch videos. I'm gonna watch somebody play through it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just play Forza because it's a better game. Let's be real. Let's be real. Forza is a better driving game. But yeah, these look. I don't think I've seen. I did AGN. He was positive, but I didn't watch this whole thing, so I don't even know if he knew about the price structure. And I haven't watched anything, so I don't know what his take on that stuff is. But he's a Super Nintendo. He's Nintendo dude. So either he's upset or he's a blind Nintendo fan. That's, and we'll see. Maybe I'll do another video on it and talk about him specifically. I like his videos. I like his content. But if you're a super fan of any box and you're blinded to the fact that, yeah, this is not good, not just for Nintendo fans or people who wanted to buy this thing, but like I said, for the industry. What they did, Nintendo, is they affected the whole industry. Now, last thing. Like I said last video, Nintendo and Sony are now in the same pocket of let's overcharge people for our stuff, and they're both Japanese companies or whatever, right? So boom, Nintendo and Sony sitting in a tree, doing all the things that they need to be doing stuff, right? Now Microsoft is alone here. They're doing the opposite. They're not doing the opposite. They're doing something different from Sony and Nintendo. This is you see how the industry is changing, right? And you see how the players are being shuffled around. Now, Nintendo and Sony are synonymous for the most part as far as business strategies. Microsoft is over here. Microsoft is over here, closer to PC, which there are more players over there. So Nintendo and Sony are isolating themselves over here. Console. Higher prices, console. Exclusive, higher prices, console. Over here, Microsoft was like, let's open it up, baby. You want it? Go ahead, buy it. There's another one. There's a cheaper one. We coming out with something else. Wait for that one. It's all Xbox. Let's go. Boosh. look at both and you're saying, well, if exclusives are the only thing and you really love Zelda or something like that, sure, you buy one, right? And you buy Zelda and you don't buy nothing else. And you buy Fortnite. Maybe you'll play Fortnite on that thing, which I don't know why. You could play it on something better. And that's it. You're going to be one of those players that buy one game a year, if that. You know, what Matt Pizzicatello was saying. So, you know, Nintendo, well, I think they're going to harm their sales. But anyway, we're talking about that. We talked about last video. But that being separated like that, right? Nintendo, Sony over here, Microsoft over here, it's changing the landscape. So what I was thinking about is that, remember the crash of '83 when Atari was greedy and they just put out every piece of hot trash garbage on the 2600, and they made too many cartridges, they made all these games, and nobody bought them. Now, it's a little different now, obviously, because it's digital and all that stuff, right? But still, it's the same thing is kind of happening a little bit, especially with PlayStation. But now, let's say the high prices that Nintendo's putting out there, maybe their sales will be affected. It'll go down. There'll be a little bit of a crash. I don't think it'll be a crash just like it was last time, but it'll be a little bit of a crash, except you have a player in the game called Microsoft who is offering Game Pass. Even if they raise the price of Game Pass, Game Pass is still the best deal in gaming. And these moves that Nintendo, nickel and dime Tendo, and PlayStation, Pistol Tech 5 Potato, those guys are making Game Pass look so much more better. So it's like look at it, it says like $450 plus $80 plus, huh? I'll be like $700 by the time I finish buying all this crap. Then you go, let me just go buy Game Pass and just call it a day. So now, what I believe is going to happen is that Game Pass will be more of the casual ecosystem, if you will. Especially if they come out with a handheld like the Switch 2, but let's say comparable in price. But, I mean, it's a Game Pass box. It's a Game Pass handheld. Let's go. I think what happened in '83 is going to happen again similarly, but Xbox is going to be what Nintendo was back then. Nintendo didn't save the industry. I have to disagree with Dirk. He said that they saved the video game industry. They didn't. Part of that is because Atari said no to distribute Nintendo, so Atari did themselves in, and then Nintendo just came through over and did it. But that's just North America. That's just the North American market. The European market and all that was still alive and well, and it was not affected, not once at all, by what was happening to Atari in the U.S. So that's where I disagree with Dirt in a little bit. I mean, it seems like that's what happened. Like, oh, Nintendo came and saved it. And I know I said that before, but you know, do a little research and you figure, oh, it wasn't even like that for real. So yeah. So, but I think that's going to happen again. Now, Microsoft is going to be the savior of the casual market, where it's like, okay, it's good, and you know, it's affordable. More people can get in. It just makes more sense, and then you have more people in there as opposed to the people who are turned off by what Nintendo's doing and all this stuff. So whatever. Anyway, I appreciate you hanging out, trying to listen to my ass, like and subscribe. Happy down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about all these influencers out here talking trash and saying things that just are not disingenuous, not facts, lies. The guy who claims to be spitting facts, spitting lies. I mean, he may be delusional. Maybe part of his sizable brain is just not right. Broken, rotten, brain rot. I don't know. But I appreciate, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one too. Wait.